Alright, in this video we're going to talk about just the same thing we've been doing. Angle relationships. This is just a guided practice, which is really the same thing as the examples. So let's go with number 4. Here's our illustration, or our models I call it. They want two acute vertical angles. Remember, vertical angles are angles that share a vertex and are opposite of each other, and they have rays that are opposite. In reality is, if you see two intersecting lines and they make an X, this will work. Now if you notice here, this doesn't look like the book because I did this to it. I'll show you now. Let's just take this out of the way. And now you got your little dividing ray. And I'll put that back in a second. I'll show you what I did. Alright, so let's just go with the acute. Acute angles are less than 90. So these two are acute. They're going in opposite directions. That means their rays are opposite. So yes, these are vertical. And that's simple as that. Let's put this here. So we got two vertical angles. Don't forget, put your angle symbol. I don't have it because I can't put it on the computer. But you can do it by hand, so do it. Maybe later I'll be able to do it, but for right now, we're just going to work with this. And the other angle that is vertical to ABF is actually CBD. And again, don't forget, you can name angle CBD DBC as long as B is in the middle. Why? Because B is the vertex. All right, those work. Now let's look at obtuse. For some of you, this picture might throw you off a bit. I know ABC is obtuse angle, right? And also too, if you just ignore the ray BE, FBD is also obtuse, and it points in the opposite direction as ABC. Hence, they're vertical, and they share the same vertex. So let me put back what I had there so you can see. Oops, no, I can't do that because if I do that, I do that. So let's just redo it. Let's hide it real quick. There we go, voila. A little magic. Alright, so now that I do that, it's easier to see. So now that you see that, let's just go with it. So right off the bat, these two angles are obtuse. Angle ABC. Don't forget your angle symbol. And the other angle is FBD. Now again, vertical angles are just simply angles that are share a vertex, and they honestly point in opposite directions. If there's an X, chances are there's vertical angles. The correct term would be that they have opposite rays. And let's go over that again, just for clarification. Why is angle ABC and angle FBD vertical? Simple. Ray, ray BF is opposite of BC. Ray BD is opposite of BA. So they're vertical by definition. Excuse me. All right, let's do number 6. Number 6 is a little tricky because it's a word problem, but let's just go over it real quick. The measure of the supplement. When you hear the word supplement, that means that two angles that add up to 180 of an angle is 60 less than. When you hear less than, that means you're taking 60 from something else. So it's whatever it is minus 60. Then 3 times the measure of the complement. When you hear complement, that means they add up to 90. Now don't forget the trick. 90 before 180, C before S. Of the angle. Find the measure of the angle. So they're just talking about one angle, which is true. It's really just talking about X. Let's just simplify this. All right, I have something in mind. Let's see what you put. If they say supplement, then that means that those two angles originally add up to 180. So instead of saying that, you can just say 180 minus whatever the angle was, right? And the word is, just lowercase, and the word is basically means equal in mathematical terms. Now, this might be the complicated part. It says 60 less than. So whatever that is, it's 60 less than means we're going to take 60 away from whatever we're referring to. In this case, what are we referring to? 3 times, so we'll put 3. Usually it would be 3x, but in this case, it's 3 times the measure of the complement of the angle. Remember, complement means they add up to 90, so what would be the inverse or the opposite of that? Working backward, instead of adding, you do what? You'd be subtracting. Kind of like in the example. So let's just read the theory we got here. First part, the measure of the supplement of an angle is. So whatever the angle is, to get the supplement of it, you just do 180 minus x. Because, of course, supplement means supplementary, which means if you added two angles, you get 180, that they're supplementary. The word is means equal. And then 60 less than means we're taking away 60 from something, whatever it is. It's not saying difference. There's a difference. If it said 60 the difference of 60, then it'll be 60 minus, but since it says 60 less, then that means you're taking away 60 from something. In this case, it's 3 times the measure of the complement. Now the complement, to get the complement of anything, you just subtract 90 from it. So in this case, it'll be 90 minus whatever that is. We don't know what that is, so we'll just say x. Notice I just put x for both, because we don't know what it is, but in this case, the relationship is exactly the same. So now that I got my equation, let's just work this out. So the first thing I would do is leave the left side by itself. We're not going to mess with that yet. We can distribute the 3. So 3 times 90 is actually 270. The last video I did, I'll show you in class, I actually messed up, which is a good thing. And then 3 times 1x is, or actually negative 1, means 3x. If I don't show it, remind me. Alright, minus 60. Alright, now here we have options. We can combine like terms. I can combine the 270 with the 60, make it a little bit easier to work with. So 180 minus x is equal to what? 270 minus 60, I believe, is 210. Yes, I don't need a calculator for that. Minus 3x. Alright, we're good. Now what we got to do is combine like terms. So let me write it here again. Let's just start fresh from where we left off. Remember, math is basically doesn't worry about the past. It just worries about the present. In other words, where did you leave off? I'm not worried about these two lines. I'm here, so let's just go with that. After I'm done, I go here. I don't think about what I just did. As long as I'm going within the rules, it's no big deal. So let's just continue. Let's combine like terms. So let's add the x to both sides to make it look easier. That's what I like to do. Once I add the x's, then I just change it to a two-step equation so it works. Alright, add the x to both sides. What do we got here? So 180. These x's cancel out because minus 1 plus 1 is 0. So let's go with this. And then we leave the 210. And then we got minus 2x. Why? Because minus 3 plus 1 means minus 2. Now the last thing I got to do is just move the 210. Now that's easy to move. 210 is positive, which basically saying it's adding. So the way you move it is by subtracting. That's the inverse of it. Remember, you're basically working backwards, which is what inverse means, at least to me. Alright, so moving on. So then I know, let's use the calculator for that. Why not? So we got 180 minus 210, right, minus 30. Okay. Oh, do that. That'll work. And let's go back right here. Okay, so we said it was minus 30. Minus 30, not 30. Alright, equals to negative 2x. Alright, so then all we got to do is divide. So we divide by 2. So don't forget, you're dividing with negative 2. So negative 30 divided by negative 2 gives you a positive 15. And that's the answer for that. Now, the first time I did this, I actually miscalculated. I said 3 times 90 was 180, which was not true, and that's why I got the wrong answer. The setup was right, though, and I've seen that with a lot of you. Sometimes you think you're doing it wrong, you're just miscalculating, so you think it's wrong. But the reality is it isn't. Don't forget, you need to show your work so that way you can get credit. Alright, and that's the answer for 6. Now 7, let's do 7. I'm going to just erase all this. It's a video, so you can always go back. So I don't got to worry about it whether you copy it or not, because you can just go back. So let's do 7 now. 7, let's just do 2. It says lines P and Q, so let's just do 2 lines real quick. Lines have arrowheads. Let me pick black. Why not? Alright, so I got 2 lines. Oh, that's way too big. Whoa, that's huge. Alright, that's a little better. Okay, P and Q. Alright, and intersect to form adjacent angles 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 would be somewhere here. Let's make this smaller. Well, that's too small. How about 12? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. Chances are you can. You got better vision than I do. And I'll put 2 here. Alright. Alright, so I got these two adjacent angles. And this says that angle 1 is the measure of it equals a 3x plus 18, and the other one, measure of angle 2 equals a negative 8y minus 70. M stands for measure. This symbol means angle. That's why I said measure of angle 1, measure of angle 2. Find the values of x and y so that P is perpendicular to Q. Oh, see, I didn't finish reading this. So this picture is technically wrong. Let's do it again. Because perpendicular means what? It means that they make right angles, the two intersecting lines. So let's do it again. Alright, so boom. And let's make it somewhat perpendicular. That looks about right. Okay. And let's do the same process again. So here's angle 1. Come on. Alright, I don't want the here. Alright, and then here would be angle 2. And don't forget, again, there needs to be a symbol there. Well, actually, no, not in this case. It's fine. Only when you're showing it like this. Don't forget the angle symbol. Alright, I don't know what this is, but let's take it out. Okay, so then picture 1 is wrong, picture 2 is right. And let's make it right by adding the little symbols of 90 degrees. Boom. Alright, so now I know that angle 1 and 2 are adjacent. Why? Because they share a side, right? And a vertex, and they basically kind of overlap each other with the side. So those are adjacent. Here the angles are adjacent too, but what's the problem? This was the problem. It said perpendicular. So I didn't finish reading, so then I had to draw my picture again. So then this kind of works, except we don't know what's going on here. In other words, now with the perpendicular, we can work with this. Because that means that angle 1 is a right angle and angle 2 is a right angle. Even this angle and this angle are right angles as well. Don't forget, linear pair means these angle 1 and 2 also linear pair. Why? Because 90 plus 90 is 100. I mean, not 100, 180. They make a straight angle. Alright, so let's work this out. Don't forget, the key word is perpendicular. On the test, like I said before, they'll probably just put this little symbol, and that would work just fine. They don't have to say all of this. I think the book is doing it to be nice, but I'm just letting you know that. Alright, so let's work this out. So the first equation would be, let me get rid of this because we don't need this picture no more. Say bye-bye. Whoa, 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 whoa. Well, let's undo what I just did. Alright. Say bye-bye, and say bye-bye, and say bye-bye. Alright, so let's work with this. Let's make the font bigger again. 20 should be fine. Alright, so let's type our first equation. So we know angle 1 equals a 90, so let's just substitute. Instead of saying angle 1, let's say 3x plus 18, which represents angle 1, is equal to the actual measurement that represents angle 1, which is 90. So that works. Just to break it down, if you want to, I'll show you. Angle 1, angle 1 equals to 90. I don't want to put it because it won't look right. It needs to have the measurement in there so you can see it better. So I'll just leave this for now. But it means the same thing. All I said was, since the measure of angle 1 equals to this expression, and we know that angle 1 is 90 degrees per the perpendicular definition, then we just say 3x plus 18 equals 90. And we just work it out. That's the only new thing you're learning. Everything else is algebra. Alright, so here we subtract the 18. Hold on. And then from there, we know the 18's cancel on the left side. Oops, not C, X. Alright, we do equal, and then 90 minus 18, I believe is 72. Let's just be sure. Yeah, 72. Alright, so then put 72 here. 72. And then we know 3 is multiplying x, so instead of multiplying, what do? We divide. So x is equal to 3 divided by 72. Well, 3 goes into 7 twice with a remainder of 1, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. So the x is 24 in that case. And then now we got to find y. So let's find y. Same thing. We can't put them together because if we did, it would be a system, technically, because we got two different variables, but don't worry about that. They made it easier for you because the reality is both these angles actually equal to 90. Because why? Because lines P and Q are perpendicular. When they're perpendicular, they meet at a point that creates 90 degrees. So let's move on. Same thing here. Just do algebra. Nothing new. 70 is subtracting, so you add to both sides. Yeah, this is going to be a weird answer to you guys because you're going to get a negative number, but if it was done correctly, it'll work out right. So let's test this one to be sure. All right, so this should be 160. 90 plus 70 is 160. All right, so then we're going to divide negative 8 to both sides, and when you do that, you're going to get negative 20, I believe. Let's test it. I know positive divided by negative is a negative, so I'm not worried about that. So on my calculator, I'm not even going to stress the negative. I'm just going to say 160 divided by 8. I get 20. I know it's negative, so let's leave it like that. All right, so let's test this real quick. Now, how do we test it? All we're doing is we're substituting it back in. I'll do it here, and then I'll change the color so you know I tested it differently. So here, right, I'll use red. So here we're going to put negative 8 times what? Negative 20 minus 70 should give me 90. Oh, what happened there? Okay. Let's put spaces here. Let's take that out and let's put equal. All right, that should give me 90. All right, let's check. Let's see if that gives me 90. All right, negative times a negative is a positive. 8 times 2 is 16, so let's add a 0, so we get 160. All right, minus 70 equals 90. 160 minus 70 is 90, so 90 equals 90, so that is correct. That is true. All right, so I just tested it out for you just in case, because, you know, it's a weird answer. We get a negative, so that doesn't look right, so just test it out. If it comes out true, then guess what? It's right. All right, that's it for this video. All right, see you on the next one.